Drake is saying that Not Like Us is anti-Semitic. What? Drake is also alleging that Not Like Us is anti-Semitic, furthering the recording's refrain that Drake is not like us. The recording alludes to Drake's Jewish heritage, saying Drake is not a colleague but a fucking colonizer. Oh my god. Oh my god. Is he saying? Because Drake was like, look, credit where credit is due. Drake did literally sign off. He was, I think he was the first major musician, major celebrity that signed off on the ceasefire, artist for a ceasefire. Something that I have maintained, okay, maybe a little reluctantly because not the biggest Drake fan, but I have said that, okay. I have openly mentioned this numerous times on numerous occasions, okay. Is he trying to say that, like, oh, you're calling me a colonizer, like likening what I'm doing to Israel because of my Jewish background? Interesting take. He's saying you can call me whatever, but not compare me to what Israel is doing. I'm just saying. Interesting take from him. And there's at least enough evidence that Drake is not pro-Israel. Drake alleges in the lawsuit that UMG permitted content creators such as Kai Cenat, Ziaz, No Life Shack, RDC Gaming, and Cartier Family to monetize reactions that Not Like Us without enforcing copyright claims. He claims that this lack of enforcement enabled the spread of defamatory content while generating profits for both UMG and the creators, prioritizing revenue over Drake's secure safety. Oh my God, he called out RDC and Kai Cenat? That's crazy. I like that he's just being like, no, you don't understand. I am not like behaving in a Caucasian manner, which is why I've decided to sue people over the funniest, like, most Karen-like takes possible. That's cool. Anyway, Brett Murphy, there's a ceasefire deal, so I want to share the story from my past reporting inside the State Department trying to answer the central question of Biden's foreign policy. How did the U.S. let Israel get away with widespread horrors in Gaza? Since October 7th, Biden and Secretary of State Blinken repeatedly drew lines on humanitarian grounds that the Israelis ostensibly couldn't cross. The IDF crossed them anyway, and each time there were no real consequences. Using leaked documents and interviews, we pieced together scenes from inside the government as diplomats and experts repeatedly tried and failed to change the policy of not holding Israel to account. This is the human rights atrocity of our time, one senior official of state told me. I work for the department that's responsible for this policy. I signed up for this. I don't deserve sympathy for it. In November, State Department human rights leaders met with one of Blinken's top lieutenants and begged the administration to follow through on a threat to cut off arms to Israel for blocking humanitarian assistance. Here's what happened. Several attendees at the November meeting, officials who helped lead the State Department's efforts to promote racial equity, religious freedom, and other high-minded principles of democracy, said the United States' international credibility had been severely damaged by Biden's unstinting support of Israel. Damn, dude. That's crazy. Who could have foreseen that? That's wild. I guess if Biden has a PhD in foreign policy, or even devoid of a PhD in foreign policy, he's that smart. What does that make me in this process? Because I've been repeating this over and over again, actively telling you that members within the State Department are of two different minds on Israel, not because of their care and consideration for the Palestinian statehood or Palestinian lives, but because they were genuinely worried about America's soft power capabilities diminishing. If he has a PhD or he's that good, but he couldn't see that, but I could, sitting from my home in West Hollywood, what does that put my brain processing powers at? If there was ever a time to hold Israel accountable, one ambassador at the meeting told Tom Sullivan, the State Department's counselor, it was now. But the decision had already been made. Sullivan said the deadline would likely pass without action and Biden would continue to send shipments of bombs uninterrupted, according to two people who were in the meeting. Those in the room deflated. Don't our law, policy, and morals demand it? Pfft, morals. An attendee told me later, reflecting on the decision to once again capitulate. The best argument you can make in this process is America's, is realpolitik, okay? And if they are casting that aside, yeah, of course they don't care about morals, dude, or law. What are you talking about? Leading the empire is a bloody affair. The best possible argument you could have conducted internally to stop this was to openly make the Biden administration understand, one, that his legacy would be forever tarnished as a genocidaire, okay? And two, that America's standing on the international stage was falling apart. which would make American empire initiatives all that more difficult down the line. As I've said time and time again, when you maintain 800 known military bases all around the planet on foreign soil, okay, if you don't have soft power, those security cooperation contracts all of a sudden turn into 800 different military invasions. And no country, not even the United States of America, can maintain an 800 front war, or at least 100 front war. Okay? Even the United States of America is not capable of going back and putting the toothpaste in that tube. All right? Brandon, through his unconditional loyalty to the state of Israel and its genocide, did irreparable harm to America's standing on the global stage. Okay? So for that, maybe he's a little JD Pond. Okay? Maybe JD Pond Don and JD Pond Brandon are one and the same in that regard. You know what I'm saying? He's a little bit like the Maverick, John McCain, when you think about it. That choice was immediately called into question. Soon after, when the 30-day deadline was up, Blinken made it official and said that Israelis had begun implementing most of the steps he had laid out in his letter, all thanks to the pressure the U.S. had applied. That choice was immediately called into question. On November 14th, the UN committee said that Israel's methods in Gaza, including its use of starvation as a weapon, was consistent with genocide. Amnesty International went further and concluded that genocide was underway. The International Criminal Court also issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister for the war crime of deliberately starving civilians, among other allegations. The U.S. and Israeli governments have rejected the genocide determination as well as the warrants. All year, senior leaders repeatedly disregarded their own experts behind the scenes. They cracked down on leaks by threatening criminal investigations and classifying material that was critical of Israel. Some of the agency's highest-ranking Middle East diplomats complained in private that they were sidelined by Biden's National Security Council. Here's the state's top Palestinian affairs official on why he's been largely absent from the public eye. Hadi Amr, one of the government's highest-ranking authorities on Palestinian affairs, said he was reluctant to address large groups about the administration's Israel policy, and he took issue with much of it. According to notes of the conversation, he warned colleagues that the sentiment in Muslim communities was turning. From a public diplomacy perspective, Amr told him, the war has been catastrophically bad for the U.S. State has said it pressures Israel to take action against soldiers who have committed abuses, and it denied policy prohibiting officials from speaking to nonprofits or classifying documents for reasons other than national security. They also said Blinken welcomes dissent. Now, as you guys know, in the way that Israel operates, they understand the principle of complementarity. Complementarity, is in the eyes of Israel, is a shield to avoid legal scrutiny from international organs of justice. Because as long as complementarity works and Israel is seen as a, normal democracy that actually prosecutes its own war criminals, right? Then you have no legal authority as an international organ of justice to sidestep Israeli authority, as it's a functioning democracy, for the crimes that they themselves are actually going through the process of prosecuting. The issue is, we know from past affairs, okay? We know from past affairs that Israel has used the principle of complementarity by spying on Bensouda, the previous prosecutor of the ICC, and literally trying to set up internal cases for whichever war crime Bensouda was looking at. Mossad was literally spying on the former ICC prosecutor. Benjamin Netanyahu went to Donald Trump and actually got Trump to issue sanctions against Bensouda, the former ICC prosecutor, for the crime of wanting to prosecute Israel for its war crimes. So just so you understand, that was always the complementarity principle is always used as a shield. Okay? If Israel prosecutes its own war crimes, at least the ones that like Bensouda or the ICC is looking at, then they can always turn around and say, excuse me, you have no legal standing. We are prosecuted ourselves.
Drake has initiated a defamation lawsuit against Universal Music Group, the record label he shares with rival Kendrick Lamar, in response to Lamar's diss track Not Like Us. Filed in a New York federal court on Wednesday, the lawsuit follows Drake's recent withdrawal of a legal petition against UMG and Spotify. That earlier filing alleged the two entities artificially boosted Lamar's track, which UMG has since called illogical. The withdrawn petition, which sought preparatory documents for a potential lawsuit, accuses UMG and Spotify of manipulating streaming services and airwaves to favor Not Like Us. Drake's lawyers claimed UMG paid influencers and radio stations to promote the track, which dominated the charts and escalated tensions in the Drake Lamar feud last year. The new lawsuit accuses UMG of defamation and harassment, alleging the company prioritized corporate greed over the safety and well being of its artists by promoting a track with full lyrics falsely labeling Drake. According to the suit, UMG approved, published, and marketed a campaign to turn Not Like Us into a viral hit while promoting false and harmful allegations against Drake. If you found this video interesting, and make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.